Using a dot card, I tested all 40 Schmincke supergranulation watercolor paints, and I'm here to tell you my first impressions. In today's video, I'm going to talk a little bit about granulating watercolors. Then I'll share my color journal, showing you my swatches, my doodles, and my paintings. Next, we'll compare them to the Daniel Smith paints I tested a couple months ago. And finally, I'll provide my honest feedback. Are they worth the price? Will I be making the big purchase? Okay, let's get to it. Granulation depends on the type of pigment used. Most granulating watercolor paints are inorganic materials using a variety of metals, and these pigments tend to be heavier and more coarse, so when the density differs from the binder, it creates clustering, separating, as well as settling. And this is usually more pronounced when we're using textured paper. And as I work on this quick landscape, you'll begin to notice that here. And supergranulation means that 2 or more granulating pigments are used in a single watercolor paint. See how the color is settling into the grooves? Let's take a look at the dot card. There are 40 Schmincke paints here, separated into 8 mini collections of 5 paints each. And at the bottom, there's a key showing transparency levels, light fast ratings, and whether the watercolor is staining or not. I will say it would have been nice if the dots were more consistent in size, because I did completely run out of some, while others I had plenty of paint remaining. But overall, it is a great way to test out paints without that big upfront cost. Okay, let's get to the tour of the color journal. The Volcano collection is up first, with Volcano yellow, orange, red, violet, and brown. Here are the doodles, and it looks like the red is probably the most heavily granulated in this group. Although in this one, the violet looks pretty good too. You can see where it's settled into the grooves of the paper. Second, the Galaxy collection, with the Galaxy pink, violet, blue, brown, and black. These 5 paints definitely have more granulating effects than the last, but I did have more paint to work with, so I don't want to judge the volcanoes too much. These colors were fine, but I wasn't really blown away by anything yet. Number 3 was the Deep Sea collection. Deep Sea violet, indigo, blue, green, and black. Now this is where I started enjoying myself a little more. I really liked the indigo and the green, and I can visibly see the pigments better in all of these colors. Plus, I was getting a feel for how much water to add and how blending colors right on the paper can create some really cool effects. Number 4 is the Shire collection. Shire yellow, olive, green, blue, and gray. The Shire blue was my favorite color at this point. I absolutely love it on the lantern and on this olive. The colors just go so well together. Unfortunately, by the time I got to this little cottage, I was almost out of paint. Number 5 is the Desert collection, with desert yellow, orange, brown, green, and gray. Take a close look at the desert green. Do you see how there are specks of red swimming in there with the green? That's what I was expecting to see more of with supergranulation watercolors. I was hoping for more of the contrast of colors that we saw in the green. But overall, the Desert collection was really nice and organic looking. Number 6, the Tundra collection. Tundra orange, pink, violet, blue, and green. This series did seem to be a bit random at first, after seeing how well the previous 2 collections worked together, but to my surprise, this wound up being my second favorite collection out of all 8, and I actually loved the variety. On to number 7, we have the Glacier collection, with Glacier blue, turquoise, green, brown, and black. This was another winner, with Glacier green possibly being my top pick out of all 40 colors. Up close you can see specks of black or maybe charcoal, giving it that contrast that I love. Number 8, the final collection, is the Forest collection. Forest olive, green, blue, brown, and gray. This was actually my favorite of the whole bunch. Not only do these colors work well together, but they're very beautiful individual as well. And I often like to use more muted, subtle colors, so I fell in love with this collection. But how did the Schmincke granulation watercolors compare to Daniel Smith? If you watched my review a few months ago when I tested a 66 color dot card, then you'll know that I came across quite a few heavily granulating watercolors, including my top 8, which seem to have the most character. Those were Sodalite Genuine, Green Abbatite Genuine, Piedmont Genuine, might have pronounced that wrong, Zoisite Genuine, Bloodstone Genuine, Hematite Violet Genuine, Cascade Green, and Lunar Black. See how the paints seem to contain pigments from different color families, creating not only added texture but also sort of an interesting color shift that looks like highlights and shadows. To be honest, I was expecting more of that multicolor paint look when I heard the term supergranulation. Now, here are some examples using the Schmincke watercolors. For the lower two paintings, I used the most heavily granulated options that I could find. And for the upper two, I just sort of grabbed the colors I liked without notice to the granulation. And there's definitely a difference. Let's look at my top granulation pick from Schmincke, Desert Green, next to my top granulation pick from Daniel Smith, Hematite Violet Genuine. Now they're both beautiful, but I can't help leaning more towards the striking and unexpected results that the hematite brings. And let's do a quick side by side. All right, so let's get into price now. These paints, they aren't cheap. Here's the Amazon price for all 40 half pans as of the day of filming. I believe most half pans average about 2 milliliters each, and the links will be in the description if you want to check the current price. They're also sold by the collection for around $90, and they're sold individually as well for about $20 to $25. I'm thinking about purchasing only 2 of the 8 collections, Forest and Tundra. And when purchasing by the collection, you can buy them by the tube. So it's 5 paint tubes, 15 milliliters each. And I might also buy the Glacier Green on its own and the Shire Blue. The prices are of course higher by the tube, and it is tempting to just go ahead and get all 40, but the quantity is so much smaller that I think it makes more sense for me to go with only the paints that I know I'll use. And I think these paints will really fill some gaps in my current color palette. They're clearly high quality, and I wish I could say that I'd be purchasing them because of their super granulating effects, but I think I would actually be buying them based on their colors, as there were only a few that had that amazing contrast that I'm looking for in granulating watercolors. This is just my opinion, of course, and I'm sure that these paints would work out great for many people, especially if you love a lot of texture in your art. I guess I was just hoping for more of that surprise, unknown element that you get with the 2 competing colors. And again, I try not to judge too harshly since you can only learn so much from a dot card. I might do a follow-up once I've had a chance to use the Forest and Tundra paints from a palette or a tube. So let me know in the comments, what brand do you think has the best contrasting granulating watercolors? Is there another type out there that I need to try? Well, that's all I have for today. Thank you so much for watching.